Hello and welcome to the latest YouTube vlog from Barton All Burner Services. We're going to attempt another day in the life this week. Well, it might be a week in the life, who knows with us, you know how it is. Going to drop into us and see what we get up to. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks everyone for subscribing. As always, we really appreciate it. Still loads of people that view it and don't subscribe. So for them people, please do. Love it. And yeah, we do it because we love doing it. So over to the vlog.
Right, hello. Come out to a call out because the boiler's absolutely stinking, and I've come up to the loft, and as you can see, the flue's got a lovely hole in it. Not only one, it's also got a little one there. So unfortunately, I think that's the end of that boiler, because there's no way we're getting a flue for this.
So today's issue, I've got to go and get an extra piece of flue for my Sapphire from EOGB because the customer's changed their mind, so I need a different terminal. I'm going through the wall instead of through the roof. And I'm driving in this traffic all the way there that's normally clear, and as you can see by the right hand side, there's a lot of traffic. And this traffic has been going on for about 2.5 miles, and it's because there's roadworks, and there's still more traffic, and there's still more traffic, and I've got to join that queue to go back again. So at this rate, I'm only like 20 minutes from the job when I get to EOGB. But it's going to take me like an hour and a half to get back at this rate. It's so frustrating. People don't realise you just pop off and get something, and then they wonder why you've gone 2 hours. This is the exact reason why.
I am here at a customer's house today, as last winter we had a very big problem with water in the oil tank. The boiler kept sucking the water through the lines, so every morning when we had a frost, the water would freeze in the lines. So what I've done is I have run a sample from the oil tank, and as you can very clearly see, we have 2 levels. The top level is oil, bottom level is water. Now, common fact, water is a lot heavier than oil, so it will always sink to the bottom of an oil tank, meaning as the outlet is also at the bottom, once you get enough water, you get this very clear separation. So sadly for this customer, I'm going to have to return and get all the water out.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, a little follow-up video from my last one about the flue with holes in it. So as I said, that they could do with a new boiler, but I'm going to show you how to fix a flue. So here you go, absolutely beautiful. As you saw in the last video, there's loads and loads of holes. We've put special heat resistant tape around it, covered all the holes, good as new, there we go. And then, if we go all the way down here, fall to that quickly. Ain't gonna miss the boiler. There you go. You can see where it's all been leaking. Just put some tape around it. Saves you thousands of pounds. As you can tell, I'm only joking. Please do not do this. This is just because we might have a cold spell going, and if they really need to use the boiler, at least it ain't gonna poison them until we come back in a few weeks and change it.
Just try to order some parts. We go to Abco for all our spares. They're absolutely fantastic. We've got a guy, Simon Jones, he's a top man, but can he be hard to get hold of? Just try to ring him. It's like he's just not there. You know, he'll ring back in a minute. I'll be like, where you been? And he'll be like, what do you mean where have I been? And I'm like, where you been? You should pick the phone up. And he'll be like, well, I've been busy, and I'm like, you should pick the phone up to me. You know, where you been? Oh, sends you mad sometimes. I just want to order some parts, man. Get off the phone.
Right, I've come to service this beautiful Grant boiler here, which is absolutely perfect. But a customer said it's been a bit smelly. I'll let you be the guest of why that may be.
I finally had a call back from Simon of Abco to order my spares. It took him about an hour. Where you been? He goes, like he normally does. Yeah, done my first breakdown now, popped to office. Trouble when you go to the office, my sister, very too good at her job. Can you ring these? Can you ring them? Can you speak to these? Can you order this? Can you order that? It's all so good, but when you're trying to do other stuff, it becomes a bit hard. But yes, that's what I've been doing. I'm off to my next one. So here I am again. I've come to this Worcester with the oil line that I had to clear. I did clear the line. I made the flow much better, but unfortunately, yep, you've guessed it, it's still pulled out, still done the same. So basically 2 hours later, I do all the joints, check all the filters again, check the fire valves, blow through the lines, check absolutely everything. I take the side off the boiler to have a look, see if there's any joints behind there, and I find a condense pipe leaking. And it's on a Worcester, and it's down the side, and it's dripped onto the pipe. And yes, you've guessed it, everybody, that piece of pipe just there has taken me and the company about 4 hours to fix. Does you nothing, but there you go, it is what it is. I've found it, they're really happy. God knows why, because at the end of the day I know I found the fault, but it's taken us forever to find it. Okay then, on to the next one, but very late.
Right, so I've arrived at my second service of the day. We have a old school non-condensing All-Star this time. I'm going to strip it apart a bit more, and I'll show you guys what you usually see when you start to strip these things down. Right, so this is what you're met with when you strip apart a All-Star. First thing is, you pull the burner out with the flexible oil line. That one's still quite flexible, as you can see. No splits, not splitting, nice and flexible, that's what we like to see. You strip the burner out first. Secondly, the combustion lid comes off, as you can see. This is all the build up, the sulphur anyway. Combustion lid comes off, and this is what you're met with. Now, I must admit, this All-Star is in a hell of a state, okay, as you can see. Lots of sulphur build up that I need to get off of there. As you can see, this is a seal. Right here at the bottom, it's gone rock solid, which can cause, as you can see by these marks, it's started to leak a little bit of water and fumes as well. So I'm going to clean that up, I'm going to replace this gasket, and then I'll show you the next step. I have gave the water jacket a good clean, as well as replacing the rope seal, as you can see, nice and spongy now. All this build up you hear, now you've got to understand this boiler's got a lot of age, okay. This stuff here is a lost cause. There's no point scratching and scraping, trying to get all this stuff off here. It'll probably make the boiler leak, resulting in the customer having to pay thousands of pounds for a new one. So let's be honest, a gentle brush, a gentle scrape. Make sure not to hurt it, remember you're just cleaning it. Like I say, new rope seal, nice and spongy. For all engineers out there, make sure you get it really tight in the corners like this. A nice 90-degree bend, or as close as you can get with some rope seal. Reason being, if you cut the corners, it's going to leak, it's going to rot the boiler out. As you can see at the floor, it's absolutely filthy, the bottom of this boiler. All up the sides of the walls, absolutely filthy, look. So what I'm going to do is use this amazing stuff, which you can get literally from anywhere. Incredible stuff. You spray it on, leave it there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It helps lift all the dirt off first, then get yourself a scouring pad. Give it a real good scrape and clean it up. Right, so as you can see, I've cleaned all this up now. Don't get me wrong, of course you're going to be left with stains when you're working with oil boilers. These stains, I'll be honest with you, I think are probably due to this leak here that came off the old seal. But make sure you try and get the marks off, because obviously next year, if you don't clean it properly and clean all the marks off, next year you could come and think it's leaking again, forgetting that you've changed the seal because you didn't clean the marks off. Now, I know I sound hypocritical right now, I can't get that off, to be honest, but I've faded it a lot, so next year that'll look very faded and you'll be able to tell if it's leaking or not, which obviously it's not going to, because I've changed the seal. Anyway, now onto the burner. You can see we love these burners, but our first inspection, 2 things I notice, okay. First thing I notice is this seal. You can see the seal is falling apart. Now, don't get me wrong, it's spongy, it's there, but this seal has to last a year. You know, I'm not going to service this for another year, and that, with all them splits in it, look, it's not going to last another year. So we're just going to put it off and go again. Another thing you notice upon inspection of first sight, you see them marks, so that's the nozzle in there, and you've got 2 marks on top of the nozzle, which indicates to me that first of all, obviously, as every service, it needs a new nozzle. Second of all, because there's 2 marks on top of it, it means that the electrodes there, as you can see, the two prongs just hanging out that left hand side, have been catching the top of the nozzle, which is no good because that's going to cause a breakdown. It's my nozzle, as you can see. I put a new nozzle in there now. I've done it up nice and tight, no marks, nice and clean, nice and happy. You look really closely, which I don't know if you're going to be able to see or not on the camera. There's a split in the middle of it. Can you see that just above my finger? Right, so I've taken the electrodes off the burner, and here now you can very clearly see the split in the middle. When you've got splits in electrodes, instead of your electric coming through here, through the prongs and creating a spark at the top of the prongs, once that wears, you get lots of rattling in the boiler. That split will open and the spark will start coming out the side, which is no good. It'll cause a boiler breakdown. I'm going to put a new set of them on. Got the boiler back together. I've just ran it for about 10 seconds just to get all the oil back in the oil lines, so I can show you guys the next step. Here we have an analyzer. I'll just get this boiler running and then I'll show you how we set these boilers up. Absolutely perfect. Right, what we're going to do is one end on my foot. Right, any minute now you can see my foot is reading the fumes that this boiler is producing. On a model like this, non-condensing water, first thing I like to see it is a CO, which is the one that's getting quite high, CO well underneath 100, and the CO2 round about 10.5 to 11. As you can see, now we're up to the CO2 where I want it. That CO is going to drop. You can see that's dropping very fast. I'll get there in a minute. Just going to have a little play, and that's it. On to the next one.
We're currently mixing this concrete base. As you can see, we've got a lovely cement mixer, and I'm going to tell you how to turn a cement mixer on. So if you want to come closer,
Okay.
If you see here, you've got a lovely sticker. If you flick it up, it goes on. Flick it down, it's off. So as you can see, it's currently in the off position.
Yeah.
So what we do to turn it on is we flick it up, and off we go.
Yeah. Yeah, baby. Lovely day for it, anyway, eh?
Oh, we love it.
Beautiful.
Come on, Ryan, because Ryan just walked past the 5 boxes that were in reception, apparently. I was going to leave them all for me to bring upstairs. Oh my word. Thanks, Abco, for this bumper delivery. Right, use those muscles, Ryan. Here you go, brilliant. Up you go. Right, so we've got all the boxes up to the stores. Turns out there were 9 boxes. So now I've got to unpack them all.
Hello, hello, Bob's fans. Oh, it's an echo. Echo! Bob's! God. Well, anyway, so you can see, I'm at a lovely church because the boiler is popping fuses. So this is one side of the boiler. You see all the lights are on at the moment. And then boilers, you see it? It's just there. But yeah, they keep saying it's popping fuses, so I'm just running it all, waiting for it to do it basically. But yeah, this is quite an interesting one. I'm thinking it's rather at the moment it's going to be a coil or a transformer, but the only way to find out is by running it. So, really to get nice and warm. Boiler still doesn't pop the fuse, which makes my life very, very hard. So, we're going to sit here waiting. Fingers crossed, it doesn't take too long because I've got a lot to do today. Or, in the word of God, does not his God instruct him and train him all right? Well, word of God, hopefully I'm trained all right. Right, so I've been here about an hour and it still hasn't popped the fuse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it on boost for a little while and then I'm going to come back later and see if it's popped again. If it hasn't popped, there must be something else going on that's popping it. But yeah, like I say, I've got a lot to do. And also, it's my mum's birthday today. So put happy birthdays in the comments. Mum, I know you're watching this, so happy birthday.
So it's 9:05 at night. And I think somebody is ready to go to work with me. He's in my van and he's sitting so patiently waiting. If I left him all night, he'd just stay there waiting to go to work. Bless his little socks. So that's it, that's a wrap for this week. Hope you enjoyed the YouTube vlog, a bit of an insight to what goes on. Once again, thanks for everyone that subscribes. Please subscribe as well for those who haven't, and like if you feel like commenting or having a chat with us online, please feel free. Until next time everybody, and have a great weekend. Stay safe. Dun 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 dun.